Hi, I'm Lisa Marie and welcome to my channel, Living My Best Life with Lisa Marie. Today's video is all about wreaths. I've got 20 plus wreaths to show you from the past year and a half, and I can't wait for you to see all the different types of wreaths that I've been making. So, without further ado, let's get crafting. This wreath, I'm going to use the 14-inch form from the Dollar Tree, the one that has the 4 rings around it. Just ignore that other ring in the background. I wasn't sure what I was going to use at that point. And then this rug I got from Five Below for $5, and it's all denim jeans cut up and woven into a rug. Oh my gosh, what a great deal. I just cut the black threads and pulled out the strands, and then I got out my square and I measured 6 inches. I decided that would be the right length for each piece. And I started cutting, and I cut them all, and I actually had to peel some more off because it was really hard to know how many I really needed, and I never did count them, but I didn't use anywhere near the whole rug, not even close. Because I only made them 6 inches, I didn't want to tie them. Denim is so thick, so I kind of twisted it around and put hot glue in between. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one around the end 2 circles, the middle 2 circles, and then the inner 2 circles, and I'm going to alternate back and forth, and that will fill in everything, and it really makes it nice and thick. And it's time consuming. Just put on some music or a video, and there I am, not quite halfway done. The back looks woven the way I'm doing it. This is called a rag wreath. And then there I am completely done, and I'm loving it. It's so thick and full, and oh, I love all the different colors of denim and different threads. So cute. Got this sign at the Dollar Tree. It says God Bless America, and it's got the cute little red truck with the flag in the back. And what I'm going to do is take some jute twine. I'm going to put it around each side of the top piece there, and I'm going to kind of hide it in between the little jean rag rug ties, and I'm going to put it around the back and tie it, and that will attach it at the top. And once I get that attached, I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom and just go through that little chain that's holding the truck on and attach that around the back. And you won't really see those. They're just really nice and secure. And I just kind of pull that God Bless America sign up a little so the denim isn't covering it. There I am putting the jute into that hanger so I can get that attached as well, and I'm going to cut off the excess. And I really think that this wreath needs a bow, and so I'm going to take a bunch of different ribbons, and I'm going to make those, you know when you fold a ribbon so it looks like an awareness ribbon and then you bring the center down? Well, that's what I'm going to do, because that's a ribbon I know how to make. And I'm going to use some jute just to tie around the center, and I'm going to do that with several different types of ribbon, and then make each one a little smaller than the one before it. And then I will use a chenille stem and attach them all together in the center. And when I get them all put together, I think I'm going to do 4 different kinds of ribbon here. Some Patriotic and then the one burlap. Then I'm going to use a really pretty little burlap lace type of a ribbon to wrap around the center. I'm also going to take 2 really thin type of ribbons. I'm just going to create tails with those, so that way I don't have to do more ribbon. There's enough as it is right now. And now I've got the chenille stem, and I'm attaching them all together. And then, like I said, I'll add those other little ribbons to make more tails. And then I'll take another stem and I'll attach it to the entire wreath, and that will be it. Oh, I will dovetail the ends and make sure that they look nice and tidy. I'm seriously thinking about doing a DIY and making my own bow maker, because I do struggle with these things, and I think that would make this so much easier. Keep an eye out for that someday soon. And of course, you've got to fluff the bow, so I'm doing that right now, but I'm going to have to do it again anyway once I attach it to the wreath. I just wanted to see what it was going to look like before I added those little extra tails on. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think it's interesting, and it's got nice color, and I think it looks really great with this wreath. You guys will have to tell me what you think. I absolutely love this wreath. It's got to be my favorite, really. It's so cute, and I'm definitely keeping this one. I've already had people say they want it, but I'm keeping this one. And here I am attaching it to the wreath with the chenille stem, poking it through to the back and then twisting it real tight. Got a wreath form from Dollar Tree. I've got some of the buffalo check mesh from Dollar Tree. I have this cute little paint set of a little Happy Harvest truck with pumpkins and stuff in it. And then I'm using also some ties. And I don't think I got those at Dollar Tree because we had those in our toolkit. And what I'm doing is I'm taking the mesh and I'm attaching it about every 4 squares. I'm counting, making a loop, and then sticking in the tie. And then I'm pulling another 4 squares, making a loop, and sticking in the tie. And I'm gonna do that all the way around the wreath. You could do this with any size wreath. You could even separate the wreath parts and do it with just one. I didn't do that. I probably should have, but I wasn't thinking of that until now. But anyway, you'll just keep going until you get all the way around. Don't worry about cutting off the ties until you're finished. And that's what I'm gonna do right now, using a little cutter. And then I'm just gonna go through and right at the point of where they're tightened is where I take them off. There it is. And then I'm gonna go ahead and paint the little truck. I'm gonna remove the base first though, because I don't need it for this. And I'm gonna use a couple of paints that I already have. I'm going to use some that came with it, and I'm just going to paint it kind of any way I want. I'm going to, add a little bit of character to it. I'm going to sand off the glitter on the Happy Harvest part, and I'm just going to let you watch. I'm just going to kind of go at it and paint it. And you could do that any colors that you want. This is your truck. You get to do what you want. Now that the sign is painted, I am going to attach some twine to it, and then I used a little spare piece of wood that I had to make sure it would stay. And I'm going to also put some Mod Podge on the front to seal it, which I almost forgot to do. So then I'm going to suspend it in the back by attaching it to the wreath form. And then I'm also going to get some more twine, and I'm going to do it going up and down, because I want to make sure that it kind of floats in the middle of the wreath when you're looking at it from the front. And I'm going to use one of the little tumbling tower blocks to make sure that that one's on. It also adds a little weight, which helps it stand up better. And then I tie it all together, and that really supports it and kind of suspends it into the middle. And of course, that just wasn't enough. I felt like it needed more. So I got out some of my buffalo check ribbon, and I decided to crisscross it behind the twine so that you would see it from the front with a little bit of twine over it. And I really love the way that turned out. And I just hot glued it. And you'd think I'd be done at that point, but no, I still thought it needed more. So I got my buffalo check ribbon out again, and I decided to kind of lay it over every 3 of the 4 square loops. So then I hot glued it against the wreath form and then made a loop over the other loop, and as you can see, going all the way around. I decided it needed just one more thing. So I got out my nautical rope and I made a bow, and I put a little teeny piece of the buffalo check ribbon, wrapped it around the center of the bow, and then I kind of frayed the edges a little, added a little hot glue so that maybe it wouldn't fall apart, and I just went ahead and hot glued that to the top center. And now I'm absolutely in love with this wreath. Oh my gosh, it is so cute. I don't think I've ever seen one quite like it, and I'm glad that I kept adding things because I really think it turned out great. I am so in love with this wreath. Oh my gosh, I love everything about it. Oh my gosh, it was so fun to paint, so inexpensive. I mean, this thing probably cost $5, maybe $6 at the most, and you know how expensive wreaths are. And I think anyone could do this. You just have to, you know, either follow the instructions or add your own creativity, whatever you think. I just love it, and I sure hope you guys enjoyed it. And I used the Dollar Tree wreath form. I think it's the largest one they have. And I've got some flowers from Dollar Tree as well as some floral tape. And I'm using my little wire cutters to cut off a couple of the circles. I think there were 4 circles on this wreath, and I only wanted 2 for this particular wreath. I love these wreath forms because you can make up to 4, I think, wreaths out of them if you only used a single circle. And then I'm going to take some rope that I believe I got from Walmart, and I'm going to just start wrapping it around. I'll use the hot glue to fix it to the first starting point. Then I'm going to kind of, not tightly, but just in little loops, go around and around and around until the whole entire wreath is filled up with the rope. And it's going to create a really pretty design, and not like just little lines going around, but more of a loopy kind of a look. And it just kind of makes it feel more full. And you can see what I'm doing. I'm just kind of, you know, going around, and then as I go around each time, I put the rope next to the rope that's already there, and that way you create this look. And I really like it. It takes a little bit longer, or maybe it takes the same. It just feels like it takes longer. And, you know, I'm going to speed this up, of course, so you don't have to watch the whole process. But I do like texture. If you watch my videos, if you know me, I try to add texture to everything. It just kind of makes it more visually interesting. And I'd like to mention, if you like my videos, if you enjoy watching these, definitely hit that like button. And now it's time for me to just glue that last little piece down now that it's over, and I'll just cut off the end. And now you can see the kind of pattern that it shows you. It's a little more visually appealing, I think. I really liked it. I love that you can wrap your wreath any way you want, and that's the beauty of doing these kind of crafts. You get to add your own flair. And now I'm just going to take the flowers that I got from Dollar Tree. I'm going to cut them off of the pick so I can place them how I'd like. I've also got some off-white berries. And what I'm going to do is just a side wreath. So I'm only going to put the greenery and the, you know, flowers and so forth on the side. It will be on the left side visually when it's hanging up. So I'm figuring out what I want going upward and what I want going downward, and that's what I'm arranging right now. Another thing is that you don't have to make everything symmetrical unless that's what you want to do. And again, this all comes down to your style and your taste and what looks good in your home, or what just feels good creatively. I tend to process things as I go. I don't always have a plan. I just like the colors and I start playing with it. So you'll see me start off with things and then add other things, and I may not know what all my supplies are going to be when I first start, because I like to flow in the creativity, and that's just the way I work best. Now that I decided what I want to be together on each side of that wreath, I'm using the floral tape to put those pieces together around the stem. It'll just make it a little bit easier to attach. And this isn't the kind of wreath where I'm going to shove that much on the inside, so that's another reason I wanted to use the floral tape. If it was a grapevine wreath, this would be different. I'd just be stuffing everything inside of the grapevine, and this one's just a little bit different than that. Anytime you have a narrower wreath, then you have to kind of camouflage some of those extra stems and find a way to make that look visually appealing. So now I have attached one side, and I did put a little bit into the rope, but not a lot will fit, and so I'm trying to get as much as I can so that you can't see it. Here it is placed, one above, one below, and I'm going to start working on a bow, and I found this really cool burlap ribbon with some lace going down the middle at Dollar Tree. So I bought some, and I'm going to cut some sections because I want to have a bunch of different loops, and I'm going to end up tying it around the middle, but it didn't really bunch up nice, so I kind of cut the middle like with little V's like that, and then I tied the rope around. It's actually just twine, and then I could turn it over and then arrange those little bows. I can just kind of, there's wire in there, so I can kind of move them around, and that's how that looks. I also cut a tail so that that would hang down and just cut the edges. And I did decide to tie that through the center around the wreath. And here's the finished product. I actually have it hanging over a project I did a couple months ago where I put a bunch of picture frames together and made a wall hanging of a mirror. It looks kind of like a window, and I'll put the link to that video in the description below. And just a couple different angles so you can see how it looks from the side as you're coming up to it. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. I love the color. I love it's sort of subtle. It's not overpowering, but it's got fall in it, and it's just really, really sweet. My mom wanted a wreath for her door. A lot of the people in her building have them. So I know she likes blingy things, so I took this kind of basket wreath form from the Dollar Tree. I used my rose gold paint from Folklore, and I just started painting it. Now, I wasn't going for like 100% full coverage, but I wanted to get quite a bit on there, both sides. And then I have this gift bag from the Dollar Tree, so pretty, and it says Noel. I'm going to cut out the one side, and then I'm going to grab a planter from the Dollar Tree and measure a circle so that I have at least a starting of a shape that would work. And I'm going to cut it out, and then I'm going to see how that would fit like in the wreath, because I want to be able to switch out seasonal type little signs in there and then just have the floral and everything for whenever. And I used some skewers to create a backing that would allow the sign to stay in there and not fall out, but still be removable, and that works out just fine. I did do a little extra trimming, and then I found these gorgeous kind of glam Christmassy or just glam flowers in general with the gold berries. Whenever I see these glam flowers, I think of my friend Antoinette, and her channel is called Simple Yet Chic, and she does the most high-end glamorous stuff. I'll put a link to her channel in my description if you want to check it out. It's gorgeous. I'm going to cut them up into individual pieces so that I can place them exactly where I want. The nice thing is they stuck right in there in that basket weave of the wreath form, and all I had to do was trim any pieces that stuck out of the bottom, like the stems, and I was able to, you know, make a variety of florals together on one side, and then I'm going to kind of repeat that on the other side so that it has a similar look, and it will go up about to the halfway point around the wreath when you're looking at it, you know, from a horizontal standpoint. Now, I don't actually hot glue the flowers down all the way, just a couple little pieces that were sticking up in ways that I didn't want them to, and I want them to lay nice and not flat, but just in a sort of symmetry way on the wreath, and I think that will hold everything and make it very secure. But I could take it apart later if I really want to. Now I'm going to trim off those little pokey edges of the skewers that were still kind of sticking out, and then I'm going to apply some hot glue at each of those points because I do want those to stay. No matter what I do to the wreath later, I'll want those. So now I'm going to make it a little festive, and I got these little bells. I think they come in like a 9-pack from the Dollar Tree, and I took a different skewer, and I'm going to use that same rose gold paint, and I'm just going to use a little makeup sponge from the Dollar Tree and apply it on there lightly just to get rid of that bright shine. And then these two little snowflake with sticker on the back from Dollar Tree. I'm going to remove the stickers and use that same rose gold paint and paint both sides. And then I'm going to get my Epsom salts out again, if you remember that from a previous video. Again, I'm going to, after putting some glue on top, I'm going to sprinkle the Epsom salts over the top, and that will serve as like a fake snow effect. And that's what I'm doing right now. I have this very thin kind of a silver ribbon. You can actually see through it. It's either from Dollar Tree or Walmart. I can't remember now, but it was cheap. And I'm going to figure out how long I want to hang the bows down and then cut a piece of that. Now I'm stringing the bells down. So now I'm stringing the bells on there. It's kind of like my bow in this one. And I'm going to hang them and decide how that's going to look. And at first I think about adding the snowflakes, and then I decide to do that a little different as we go forward here. I'm going to attach them by tying a knot at the back and then just see how they're hanging right below the wreath. And then I'm going to hot glue that in place, and then I'm going to trim off the little edges because there's just no reason for that to stick up right there. Now I did make the bells kind of close to each other and tight because I didn't want them ringing all the time when you barely touch the door. That would get really annoying, so I just wanted them to ring a little bit and just be a little bit, you know, holiday cheer. And this is when I decided I'm going to add the snowflakes right above the two bells, and I thought that looked really cute. And now I'm going to create a hanger, and I'm going to hot glue that to the back using that same ribbon. And then I'm going to cut a little teeny piece of a popsicle stick and paint it the rose gold, and I'm going to put that right over the ribbon just to hold it in place. And that's it for this one. It's done. My mom loves it. It looks great on her door. She's gotten compliments, and it's just blingy enough, but at the same time I can change out the little sign in there for winter and, you know, for whatever season it is, and it should be a lot of fun. I know once the spring comes, I'll just make her a new one. DIY, I'm using a pizza pan from the Dollar Tree and a really cute bee-themed placemat I got on the Dayton Air Force Base. And I'm going to go ahead and cut around where that green circle is around and cut off the gray part, only because it won't fit on the pizza pan. And once I get that on there, I'm using these pinwheels I found at the Dollar Tree that look like little bee wings. Now, they're brighter yellow, and I need to kind of pull this all together. So I'm using a folk art yellow paint, and I'm going to do the centers of the flowers, the beehive, and then I'm going to go over each of those little wings and kind of dull that yellow down so that it all ties together and matches better. And I'm happy with that once I do that. The only thing is the black is so black. So I'm just going to brush, like dry brush over the wings, and that kind of blurs it a little bit, and I think that's perfect. Now I'm going to match up two wings so that it looks like each one's a bee, and I'm going to hot glue them together, and then I'm going to hot glue them underneath the little placemat. I'm going to take this really pretty buffalo check ribbon that I got on sale at Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to start making pleats. So you see I've pleated the entire thing, just folding it like a little accordion. Now every two pleats I'm going to glue the top of them together. Then I'll skip one, and then I'll glue two together, and then I'll skip one, and then I'll glue two together, and I'll do this all the way around the entire circle. Once I get that done, I'm going to start gluing down about every 3 or so pleats. I will glue it down to the combination of the edge of the pizza pan and the placemat, and I will do that all the way around as well. Now after I've done that, I will go back and I will add some more hot glue and just kind of secure it in different places all the way around. And I didn't want to cut off the ribbon until I was sure I had enough, because if I cut it, I'd have to add extra pieces, and I didn't want to do that. So that just worked out perfectly to just leave it attached to the strand of ribbon. Now I'm going to turn it over and put my little hanger on the way I always do. Use some kind of a rope, hot glue, and a little piece of masking tape. It's very secure. Now I'm going to make a messy bow. So I'm going to take 7-inch strips of bow, and I'm using all different kinds of bows, and I'm going to use, or ribbons I should say, I'm going to use 3 pieces each, and then before I put it together I'm going to dovetail all of the ends so that that will already be done and I won't have to deal with that. Now I'm going to stack them randomly, sideways, crisscross, across, and then I'm going to take a piece of jute cord, take it underneath, and tie it in the back as tight as I can. Then I'm going to fluff out my bow, and I'm going to stick that jute cord right through my ribbon that goes around the wreath, and I'm going to tie it on real tight, and then I'm going to hot glue it as well just to make sure it stays in place. This is so cute, you guys. I'm loving this, but I need something for the center of my bow, and I had these little pom-poms from a little Dollar Tree sign that I had taken off. They were pink and yellow, which went with this perfectly, so I just glued them together, and then I hot glued them to the center. And this one's done. I hope you guys like it as much as I do. It's amazing what you can do with a Dollar Tree pizza pan. I hope my channel is a fun place where you can come and be inspired to create something. I do all different decor styles. There's something here for everyone. If you like what you see, be sure to hit the like button. That really helps my channel grow, and I appreciate it. This wreath is going to be made out of one ring from the 3D wreath form from Dollar Tree and these little like ladybug wing looking pinwheels from the Dollar Tree. I'm using my tin snips to pull off the little wings, and I have that in my Amazon store. All my supplies that I use regularly will always be down in my Amazon store. And now I'm just putting them on a piece of cardboard to figure out how big I should make each of the little bodies. So I'm using this little container I have, and I'm tracing out circles. I'm going to make 8 of them. And then I have this really nice cardstock scrapbook paper, and I'm going to cut the circles out. I'm going to use my premium decoupage solution, and I'm going to attach them to the scrapbook paper. And then I'm going to cut them all out. Once I have them all cut out, I'm going to take my brayer and I'm going to rub over the top of them to make sure that they are very well adhered to the cardboard. And then I'm going to take this poly rope that you can get in the automotive section at the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to cut pieces that wrap all the way around each of these circles, and I'm going to hot glue them on. And I'm only going to show you one, but I'm going to do it to all 8 of them. Now I'm going to take 2 wings at a time, and I'm going to hot glue them together. I want them to look like they're in flight. So I'm going to lay each set of 2 over each other so I can try to get them pretty much the same exact size. And once I have done that, I'm going to take those little circles, and I'm also going to do the same thing and hot glue them to the back side or the underside of the little wings, so you just see that little part of the black body coming through, and then I'll lay it on top of the next one so I can try to get them again about the same size each. And I'll do that to all 8 of them. Once all of those are done, I'm going to put that little piece on top of some more cardboard and draw out kind of freehand like a head. And once I get the shape I want, I'm going to cut that out with a utility knife, and then I will use it to trace and make 7 more so that I have 8 of those. And then I'm going to do the same thing with that same scrapbook paper, adhere it using the premium decoupage, and then I'll use the poly rope in black and put that all the way around with hot glue. And then I will hot glue those to each of the little ladybugs, and now they will not only have wings, but they will have a head and a body. This whole thing started when I saw those pinwheels. I immediately knew what I was going to do with them, and it's coming to life here, and it's really fun when you come up with an idea and then you can make it work. I'm using my little snips to take those wires that are holding the wings out, and I'm kind of bending them in because I don't want them in the way. I want to be able to put the heads on and not have the wires sticking out. So I just did that with all of them, and then I hot glued the heads on like I mentioned and got those wires out of the way. I was going to snip them off, but I was kind of concerned that the shape wouldn't hold. Now, I didn't have any black chenille stems, so I used yellow ones and a black permanent marker, and I just colored them, and that's how I made their little antennae. And then I just curled the tops and cut them out, and I'm going to hot glue those to the underside of the head so they're sticking straight out, which you will see here in a moment. And they are so cute. The only thing is I really needed to wait for them to dry because I got black permanent marker all over my fingers. That was not fun. I have this black and red it's almost like buffalo check mesh that I got at the Dollar Tree a long time ago. And I only had this one little roll, and so I really had to make it work. So I created a little loop, and I had cut up some red chenille stems, and I wrapped them around the ends of the loop and then attached them to the ring. And then I pulled another couple, maybe 2.5 inches, made another loop, wrapped the little chenille stem around that and attached it to the ring. And I literally do this all the way around the entire thing. And then I stretched it as far as I could to make sure that it would fit. Unfortunately, the little ladybugs cover any of the gaps, so that worked out really well. But I thought just to fill in, I wasn't sure what would show in between, so I wanted to make sure that there was some red and black in there, and this just was the perfect solution for that. Now I'm going to lay the ladybugs on there. Basically their head will be facing out and their body will be facing in, and I'm going to hot glue them, and now that mesh gives me something to hot glue to as well. So I'm going to do that with all 8 of them, and then I'm going to turn them over and secure them even more on the back side with a little more hot glue. Then I have this red steering wheel cover that I bought at the Dollar Tree, and I thought I can cover the back of that ring with this so that it will make the back look a little nicer, and it gives me one more surface to hot glue everything to. So I took out some of the thread and I got rid of some of the gathering on just one side of it. Then I hot glue each little piece to it, turned it over, added a little more hot glue, put a red chenille stem as a hanger, and then it's ready for me to add a little sign to the front of it, which we are going to do in a special little DIY within a DIY. I'm going to take a little square plank that came in a 6-pack from Dollar Tree. I'm going to find the center, and then I'm going to use a utility knife and just cut it in half, and it cuts pretty easily. I just turn it over and score both sides and the edges, and then it breaks right in half, and then I just kind of clean up the edges. And I'm going to go ahead and use this to make one thin, longer little sign. I didn't have a piece of scrap wood that was just right for this. I'm going to use a little bit of my Titebond adhesive, which is really good, and it works great with wood and all kinds of surfaces, and then a little hot glue for the immediate hole. I'm going to use a nail file from the Dollar Tree to sand all the edges. I'm going to get some scrapbook paper for my first layer. This is going to be like paper crafting. So there's my first piece. And then I have a friend who has a channel who does some amazing paper crafting things. Her name is Linda at FaithChick777 DIY by Design. And she takes her little scissors and she scrapes all the edges of her paper and gives it texture. And I wanted to try this so bad. So that's what I'm doing. And I will link her channel down below. And now I'm going to take that paper that I've scraped all the edges, and I'm going to put it on top of that piece of wood that I assembled. Then I'm going to cut out another piece of scrapbook paper using that same piece of wood as a template, but then I will take my paper cutter and make it a little bit smaller because this will become the second layer. So I'm going to do that, scrape the edges on that. I'm not going to show you, but I'm doing it. And then I'm using my brayer and attach it. I'm going to take a third layer of scrapbook paper, cut that one even smaller. So again, each layer you can see the one below it, and then I'm going to take some paper that's like red that doesn't have a pattern on it, and I couldn't get one whole piece that was long enough, so I put two together, and I did the same thing, scraped the edges, I glued that on there, and now I'm going to take some black paint from Waverly, which is called ink, and I'm going to do all the edges. I could have used a marker, and I didn't think of that till after the fact, but you could do that too. Then I am going to use a marker. That's when I thought of it. And I'm going to figure out where the center of the word welcome is and start there. And then I'm going to write my letters. Try to do a little bit of kind of like a ready done font, but by hand. And then I'm going to make a little swirly design on each side, kind of how a ladybug might be flying. And I found a little teeny ladybug when I was cleaning out under my stove. I don't even know where it came from, but I cleaned it up and I am hot gluing it right on there. And it was perfect. It was like this was meant to be. And now, back to the original DIY, I'm going to hot glue that sign right to the center of the ladybug wreath. And I just think this came out so cute. I hope you guys like it. Definitely let me know. Use a single piece from that wreath form, and this one's going to look very different. I took some fern that came out of a Dollar Tree pick, and I took individual leaves and I hot glued them all the way around the entire ring. And then I got some fall leaves in 3 different colors. I cut them off a garland from Dollar Tree, and I kind of placed them so that the same colors were not touching each other. And I know I could have stopped right here, but I did feel like it needed something more. So I got out my nautical rope that I got from Dollar Tree. It was either Dollar Tree or Amazon, and I decided to kind of go around in a very loose, loopy way, and I'm kind of calling it a lasso wreath. And what I did is I made sure that the rope was glued down the center of each leaf spine. I found this cute little light up wooden stand at Dollar Tree that says blessed. You can see the little light in there. And I removed the word blessed from the front, and I'll try to use the rest of that for another project. The first thing I did is I painted the sign with the home decor, the folklore color sheepskin, and then I decided to distress it with Waverly's antique chalk paint. And it still wasn't enough, so I darkened it up a bit. And then I got this idea that maybe I need it to kind of shine a little. So I took my Arteza acrylic marker in the color bronze, and I just kind of scored it up and down. And it actually makes it look more like wood, and then I took a little black around the edges of the letters just to make them stand out more, and now put some Mod Podge on it, and I think it looks great. And I hung it with twine in the center of the wreath, and that's it. I love this one. It's just so cute, and it definitely fall. Definitely fall. Those colors are very vibrant. You know, and I've never seen a wreath quite like this, so if you have, let me know. Otherwise, maybe I came up with something. The lasso wreath, that's it. This spring DIY, I've got a little mini wreath, and I've got these carrots from Dollar Tree, and then I've also got some greenery that I got at the Target dollar spot. These wreaths come 2 in a pack, and you just have to really look closely to figure out where to cut them apart. I almost thought they were just one. Now I've gone ahead and I'm hot gluing little leaves from this greenery that I got, and then I'm going to attach the carrots. Now I'm figuring out the pattern or design that I want to do right now, and I end up putting kind of a little row of leaves, and then I'm going to put 5 carrots hot glued to it. Super easy, super fast, and it came out adorable. I decided to take that burlap black chevron ribbon again and use that to create a cute little faux hanger that's going to have the hanger on the back, which is just another little piece of jute twine. And you guys, that's it. I love this one. It was so easy, so cute, and so inexpensive. Oh my gosh. You know, crafts don't have to be super complicated to be fun and really cute. This didn't require any special techniques, and I just threw it together. And I really think anyone could make this. Got this wire wreath at Target dollar spot, and I don't want to use the flowers for this. I just want to use the rings, so I'm going to pry them off. They had them wrapped in this heavy duty little metal thing. Took some serious muscle, but I did it. And now I can use this to create my next project. I'm going to take some lavender picks, and now I'm going to paint this ring black with my ink Waverly chalk paint, both sides of course, and I just love the way that looks. I think that just really nice. I love the original color, but it just isn't going to go with what I'm trying to do today. I'm going to remove the tag and trim down my little lavender pick, which I did get at the Dollar Tree, by the way. They have some pretty good ones this year. I also like the ones at Walmart too. Now I've got this really cute striped ribbon from burlapfabrics.com, and I'm going to use this throughout this particular DIY. I absolutely love this ribbon, and of course I will have a link down in the description box. And of course I'm using my tin snips to cut these, which I love. They are so handy. I'm going to take a little piece of jute twine and just tie my pieces of lavender together. I want them to have the look like they're hanging, like when you hang dried flowers. So I'm just going to do that, wrap around the excess little bit of twine and hot glue it down. I'm going to fan out my pieces of lavender so that they kind of fill the entire ring. And then I'm going to take that adorable ribbon and I'm going to wrap it around the ring 3 different places, at the bottom, in the middle, and towards the top. And I think it just looks so cute. Sometimes you wrap around the whole ring, but I just wanted to add some accents because I want the lavender to be the focal point. And now I'm just trimming the excess that might show through. Now that I've got the ribbon wrapped around 3 times, I'm going to take some more of that same ribbon and I'm going to wrap it around the very bottom of my little bouquet of lavender. I just thought that would look really cute. And I'm going to hot glue it down. And then after that's done, I'm going to position it on the ring and then I can hang it like upside down and it looks so cute. It's very lightweight, so I can just use hot glue to attach it and it's going to stay just fine. And because I love this ribbon so much, I'm going to cut a little piece that I can wrap around at the very top, and then I will add a little bit of jute twine behind it and hide the hanger so it looks like the cute ribbon is the hanger, but really the jute twine behind it is. And I love doing that. It just makes it look so finished, but not secure to hang it by that really. So by putting the jute on there, it really does help make it secure. And to make the back look finished off, I'm going to cut another small piece of that ribbon and I'm going to cover the knot right over the back of the jute twine, and then all you'll see is the little hanger. And that is just so perfect. It looks much more finished now. Now, honestly, anyone could stop right here. Well, except me, of course. So I'm going to take some jute twine, wrap it around, and I'm going to make it just a little kind of a messy bow with it. I'm going to tie it around the middle, cut open the loops and trim it, and I'm just going to hot glue it right to the center of where the gathering is of the lavender. And then I will be done. Believe it or not, but I think this turned out so cute. I really love it. Well, hey friend, for this first DIY, I'm taking a hat from the Dollar Tree, a scarf from the Dollar Tree, and some florals that I already had on hand. And I don't think they came from the Dollar Tree, but maybe they did. And I'm going to take my tags off, and I'm going to take that red scarf off of the hat because I don't need it. This is just going to be such a simple, fun thing to do and fitting in with that cottagecore trend that's going on right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my blade and then my scissors and I'm going to cut some little slits in the hat, right where the top of the hat meets the brim. And what I want to do is kind of weave the scarf in and out around the entire hat. So once I get that cut and then on the inside, and then I've got to fluff it and glue pieces down, just to make it look good because it never does what you want. And the hats at Dollar Tree honestly are super cheap. And so some of the slits I cut, they came apart even bigger. So I just had to hot glue and kind of make it look like they were just woven in and out. So just a warning, if you do get a Dollar Tree hat, just know that's going to happen. And once I get them all situated though, I am going to tie the scarf into a knot, and it's just going to look so cute on there. Doesn't that just remind you of picnics out in the English countryside? Which goes with the cottagecore trend that's happening. It's very country, cottagey, English almost. It's so cute. Now that I've got the top dealt with, I'm going to turn it over and work on the bottom, and I'm going to secure things there because I just don't want it to pull through. This is just going to be something you can hang on a wall or set on a shelf kind of as a piece of decor. And it won't be touched a lot, but I still don't want anything to happen. And I used some jute cord to make a little hanger. Very simple, just cut a piece, hot glued it, and then put a little masking tape over it. You're never going to see that because that will be up against the wall or laying on top of something. Next, I'm going to start adding some florals. So I had pulled a few aside, and now I'm just going to figure out which ones that I actually do want to use for this. I love those kind of off-white ones. I think they look great, so I'm definitely going to do that. And then I'm going to add in some of the yellow too because I want to make it all tied together. But I don't want to overdo it, so I had extras. I didn't end up using them because I think they were just too much. I even cut one off and put it up there and looked at it, and then I thought, no, just remember, less is more. That's kind of my mantra. Then I got these natural wooden beads that I had gotten from Amazon, and I picked the larger ones. And I'm literally going to hot glue one to every intersection where I made a little, I guess, kind of poof, if you will, for the scarf. And I think it looks so cute. I'm not going to paint them. I'm not going to do anything. Just hot glue them right onto the hat. I'm honestly loving this look. Please let me know what you think. Would you make something like this? I mean, it's so easy. This is just super easy. I mean, why not try it? Besides YouTube, feel free to connect with me over on Instagram, Pinterest, and Facebook. Same name, Living My Best Life with Lisa Marie. I post all kinds of stuff on there behind the scenes and just what's going on in my day-to-day life. Hope to see you there. I'm going to take another piece from that 3D wreath from the Dollar Tree and these Patriotic straws from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to first take some jute twine and I'm going to wrap it all the way around this ring and hot glue it every so often because I need something for everything to stick to, and the metal rings aren't really the best thing to do with hot glue. They just don't stick. And then that little sign in the middle, "You're a Grand Old Flag," is also from the Dollar Tree. Now I'm going to cut out my straws in different shapes because I'm going to come up with a pattern. I'm literally just making up my own pattern, so you could do whatever you want. This is just the pattern that kind of came to me. And now I'm hot gluing that little sign directly onto the jute twine that's wrapped around the ring, and this makes it stay really well. I'm going to start attaching the straws in a pattern about midway down the "You're a Grand Old Flag" sign. I'm going to do something else across the top. But what I'm doing is taking a small blue, a large blue, and then a small blue, and then the same thing with the red, and alternating every 3. That's the pattern I kind of came up with. Now, once I get this all the way around, I do go back and fill in. Now that that initial pattern is established, I still have gaps in there, so I go back over the top with the opposite color that's underneath it. And again, this was just a pattern that I kind of was making up as I was going, and I liked it. And then I cut some of the red straws to cover where the straws all meet at the edges, and I kind of cut them at an angle so they would meet at a point and also down in the bottom corners there. And I just stopped it where the straws ended. I didn't go up and around the entire sign because what I'm going to do there is I'm going to take some red and white carnations that I got from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to trim them down, and then I'm going to hot glue them to the jute twine, but I don't feel like that's secure enough. I didn't have any floral wire. I took some jute twine and I reached around front and I tied a little knot for each flower that I added, and that really held them secure, and I added a little more hot glue. This wreath was so easy and inexpensive, all Dollar Tree. You guys will have to tell me what you think. I think it's super cute and patriotic. DIY is another one that's going to be a little different because I'm going to make a kind of a wreath inside of this gold basket. It's for my mother's door for the winter time, and we're just going to hang it from the back of the basket. Again, I'm using the pine cones that my husband collected for me. I literally have more than 140. It's crazy. I doubt that I'll use them all, but you know what? I've got them. And so I'm flocking all of them with that same white acrylic paint that I used on the other ones. And of course, this part is free other than the paint. Now I'm going to position them inside the basket using hot glue. So the first one, I have to put the glue on the basket first and then place the pine cone. And after that's in, I can do one pine cone at a time by putting them inside of the basket, because now they have a pine cone to kind of lean up against and not roll around. And I'm just going to do this for all of the pine cones and then add glue after the fact wherever I see a spot where it's touching the wire. I'm taking some more of that garland. I have it in gold and in white, and that's what I'm using for these projects today. And I'm going to do the same thing I did before, but I'm going to wrap it around my little silicone spatula because that's going to be really easy. And I'm going to make several of them, and then I'm going to hot glue them into the center of this wreath. I have this holographic kind of like glittery, shimmery paint. I think it's from Walmart. And I'm just painting the very top little flowers of those pine cones to add extra sparkles and shine. It almost looks like pieces of snow when it hits the sun. I wanted to add a little greenery, but I needed it to stay in the winter theme, so I used some lambs here that I had picked up at Walmart a while ago. And I cut really small little batches of leaves, stuck them in there. Now some of them I ended up hot gluing and some just stayed really tight. I went ahead and I just played around with that till I got them exactly the way that I liked it. It's, you know, it's your craft, you can do it however you like. I had some of those little gold flowers similar to the silver ones that I had picked up, and I'm going to add 3 of them to create kind of the top of the wreath. It just adds the right touch and it gives it a focal point, and I really like it, and I hope you do too. I got this wreath form at Michael's because it was at least 30 inches, and I got some of the flowers at Michael's and everything else is from the Dollar Tree. With the grapevine wreath, I'm able to actually tuck the stems inside of the sticks of the grapevine. They just stick in there really well, and I did eventually glue everything down once I had it positioned exactly where I wanted it to be. And this one I made for our granddaughter. She recently bought a house and wanted to fill this really tall wall with a huge wreath. We talked about what she was looking for, and I grabbed these gorgeous flowers. She wanted them to be that kind of cream white color. I used some fern, I used some eucalyptus, some baby's breath, and I did the half wreath. That's what she wanted. So it goes up on the first part and down on the second part. And then I created a bow out of burlap, 2 different kinds, the kind I used before with the lace in it and the kind without, and it just turned out beautiful. It's really large and definitely a statement piece. And of course, the most important thing of all is that she loved it, which made me very, very happy. Let me know what you think of it. DIY is so cool. I found this round wood piece with a hanger at the Target dollar spot. It was $3, and one side has got a whitewashed kind of look and one has got the wood. And then I found the word happy, the metal word happy, at the Dollar Tree. And then I have some flower picks. And so what I decided to do is hot glue the word happy across this wood round, and then I'm gonna put some cute little flowers and greenery around the bottom and just decorate it that way. It's super simple, but it just feels like spring, you know, because spring makes you happy, especially after all the snow and whatever in the winter. So I just thought, what a cute wall hanging this would be. I kind of ran into this little dilemma. There were 2 holes in the metal word happy. I guess you could have hung it. Well, I already had a hanger on the wood round, so I decided to use these little pop-up button things from their stickers from the Dollar Tree, and I put them over the holes. But then I thought, oh, that looks weird just on the H and the 1 P. So I just put a couple across each letter, and they were pretty colors and they were very spring-like, and I thought, you know what? That'll work. What do you guys think? Would you have done that, or would you have done something different? Let me know in the comments. I honestly love how this one turned out. I hope you guys do too. This is an easy DIY. I've got some beautiful flowers from the Dollar Tree, and I've got a basket I got at the Target dollar spot. I think it was $3. Isn't it cute? I'm going to use some lace and ribbon that I already had on hand and some little round styrofoam balls, and I'm going to fill up the basket with plastic bags that I have a lot of, just so I don't have to put so much in there to fill it up. Just really fills space where you need it. I'm going to use my tin snips, and I'm going to cut all these flowers down. They had really thick stems, and then I'm going to kind of play around with getting them in there, sticking them in the styrofoam. I didn't have a piece that was like a rectangle or whatever to fit in there. That's why I put the balls in, but I did hot glue the balls down so that they wouldn't move around, and that really made a difference. So if you ever have to use something that's a funny size, that will work. And like I said, just playing with all the different sizes. I am going to also bring in some other leaves that I had. I believe I got these at the Target dollar spot, the extra ones I'm putting in at the end there. I'm going to use one handle like as a hanger and the other handle is sort of the front. Now I'm going to take some floral wire and I'm going to squeeze the two back corners of this basket because I want it to be more flat on the back, and that way it'll lay up against the wall better and it won't like look like it's falling over. So I just stick the floral wire in there and kind of create a little pinch and then twist it as tight as I can. And that seemed to work. That really helped get it to the place where I really wanted it to be. After finishing squeezing the two corners in the back, I found this really pretty kind of greenish purple leaf pick, and I thought it would just look really nice and fill in that little opening I still had and just make this look fuller, the colors coordinate. And then I'm going to take my purple lace ribbon that I have, and then I also have a really pretty little beige colored ribbon from the Dollar Tree. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hot glue one to the front of the other, and then I'm going to wrap it around the basket right where there's a difference in size there, and then just tie it in the front. And it's so romantic and cottagecore, and I can just so see this in that setting. It's just adorable. I hope you guys like this one. It was beyond easy to make, and so many of the things I already had at home, but even if you didn't, this would have been extremely inexpensive. I really hope that you like it. It was really fun to make. I'm really kind of getting into these new styles. I think it's lots of fun. Let me know what you think about this idea of trying new things and, just trying out different decor styles so we can all see what works, what doesn't, or even just to challenge yourself to do something new. That's important. We've got to always be learners. Never stop learning, never stop growing. At least that's the way I look at life. It keeps it interesting and it definitely keeps it fun. And that's something I want because from what I understand, that keeps us younger too. So, hey, listen, if you can say amen to that, write amen down in the comments. And once I get this ribbon tacked down the way I want it, this one is done. That's it. That's all there is to it. Do you love mega videos? Check out the link in my description box for a playlist of just that. For this DIY, I'm using one of those conversation bubble signs that Dollar Tree has, and I'm just going to draw a little line and use my blade, utility knife, I guess, and I'm going to get rid of the little point at the bottom. I want it to look like the body of an Easter bunny. This one is going to be a cute bunny one. And then I also have this other sign from Dollar Tree that had different shapes on it. It had Easter eggs and different things, and I turned one of them into a head for the bunny, and I just took the whole thing apart. And then I also have that headband with the bunny ears, and I'm going to use that as well. So I'm hot gluing the two pieces together. I'm going to paint it with the Waverly chalk paint in plaster. I'm going to do 2 coats to cover it completely. I found a little bunny face online, and so just looking at my phone, and I'm freehanding the eyes and the mouth and the nose, which was super easy to do. Honestly, I'm not an artist by any means. And once I do that, I'm going to take my Arteza black paint marker and I'm going to go ahead and draw in the eyes. And so, or actually the eye, I only have one because it's a side view. It was so easy and it actually looks really cute. So don't be intimidated by trying to do something like this. It's actually not that hard. Dollar Tree sells these little tools, the one I'm holding. I think they're for scoring, but I use them for very precise painting like this because it's like a little point, but it's round, like a ball tip. And so it works really well if you can find them in the Crafter Square section. I was so excited. I finally found the color ballet slipper from the Waverly chalk paint at Walmart. I've been looking for it for a long time. So I'm doing the nose with that color. It's so cute. And then I'm going to touch up where I went over the line a little bit. And afterwards, I'm going to use ballet slipper again to make the cute little rosy cheeks. I'm also going to use ballet slipper like dry brushing around the edges of the bunny because I just wanted a little bit of pink in there and I just love the way it looked. Now I'm going to attach the little bunny ears. I'm going to stretch it out a bit and then I'm going to hot glue it directly onto the head. And it looks so cute, you guys. Oh my gosh, I love it. I'm going to use one of these microfiber dust pads from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to cut out a little circle and make a fuzzy tail for the bunny. And that was just perfect. I'm also going to use this gray and white mop head and I'm going to start creating a circle with them, kind of like, attaching them around the sides of itself. And I'm going to use hot glue and those will be the two little feet that you see on the one side. And I'm just looking for some different textures and I actually really liked the way that came out. It was super easy and I had lots of extra ones. I have one of those little baby carrots from the Dollar Tree. I've been using them in several different DIYs and I just put it there like he was holding it. And now I'm going to take some floral picks from Dollar Tree, just really vibrant, beautiful colors, and I'm going to cut off the little pieces and I'm going to create a little bouquet that I'm going to wrap in some ribbon that I got, I believe at Walmart. Really pretty burlap ribbon with lace on it. And I'm just going to hot glue that directly to the center of the bunny. I'm going to get some jute twine and I'm going to make a cute little bow, the kind where you just wrap it around your fingers a bunch of times, tie the center, and then snip the loops. I'm also going to fill in the little hole above the eye with some hot glue and then paint it with the plaster. Super easy, you guys. I mean, seriously, this was such an easy one and it came out so cute, so festive. I'm just so happy with how it turned out. You'll have to tell me what you think. I really love it. This project, I used 2 of the Dollar Tree splatter screens and some fabric that I already had at home, and then that hula skirt again, and hot glue, and some leaves that I also got from the Dollar Tree. Once I decided which fabric I did want to use, I opened that up and I traced the circle part of the splatter screen twice so that I had one for each, and then I hot glued it around the edges to the actual splatter screen. I positioned the 2 splatter screens so they overlapped and brought the 2 handles together, and that's going to be the pumpkin stem, and then I hot glued the pieces that were touching together. In order to highlight the indentations that make it a pumpkin, I used my nautical rope and I hot glued it around all of the edges and then both of the other edges that kind of are in the middle of the pumpkin, you'll see. I'm going to wrap this same nautical rope around the 2 handles to make a pumpkin stem. And then I'm going to take some little pieces of jute twine that I just had left over from trimming something, and I'm going to create a little bit of a frayed top so it looks a little more stem-like a dried out stem. And then I come in with my Waverly wax paint in Antique to just kind of make the stem look a little darker. And I'm going to use some of those Dollar Tree leaves, make a little leaf arrangement on the top with hot glue. And then I'm going to use my raffia, or actually hula skirt, and make a bow. I had some lace laying around, so I thought I'd just use that to kind of spice it up a bit on top of the raffia, and I really liked the way it turned out. Super cute. And then I made a little hanger for it in the back with some more of the rope and little popsicle sticks. And here it is. How pretty is that? Oh my gosh, I really love it. Be sure to let me know what you think in the comments. I love that fabric so much. It just screams kind of fancy fall. Super excited about this project. I'm using some book pages again, and I'm going to actually put it on a Cricut mat. I went into Cricut Design Space. I got some little butterfly shapes that would fit what I'm going to use them for, and I went ahead and I had them cut, and now I'm just leading them out, and I'm going to take them off the mat, and then what I'm going to do is bend them all in the middle. So it kind of looks like the wings are flying, like when a butterfly's wings are up against each other. And then I'm going to add these pieces of what would be trash to a really small little wreath I got at Dollar Tree. I'm going to glue them on, but first I'm going to add some other things to the wreath. I have this really pretty flower pick that I got at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to pull off some actual little flowers without the stems, and then some of those little green kind of berries. And then I found a couple different ribbons at Dollar Tree. One is a little thin polka dotted kind of a ribbon, and they're a little bit see-through, and then one is a pink, and they're just so pretty and light. And I didn't want to overpower the wreath with a lot of color because I want the butterflies to really be kind of the, I don't know, the focal point, if you will. So I'm just wrapping the ribbon around, hot gluing it, kind of in a diagonal, and then I'm going to add the thinner one with the polka dots over the middle of the pink one just to give it a little bit of a layered look, and I'm really liking the way that's turning out. I had this little piece of burlap left over from a DIY in my last video, and I didn't want to waste it, so I decided to use it to make a hanger. I just cross it around itself and hot glue it to the back, and then secure it with another little piece of that same burlap, and then I'm going to have a nice little hanger for my wreath. And as I said before, I'm going to take the little flowers and some of those little green berries and just kind of randomly put them around the wreath. I don't want to go crazy. I'm not going to cover the whole thing, but just, intermittently with space between them all, I'm going to add them to the wreath just to give it some color and make it a little spring-like. I'm going to hot glue the little butterflies in various places. I want it to look like they just kind of landed wherever on the wreath. And I absolutely love them. I think with the words on them, it's just the sweetest thing. It's making me want to do more DIYs with book pages. I just think it's such a sweet touch. And I don't know, let me know what you think. I just love this. I've never done anything like this before, and I'm so happy with how it's turning out. My only regret is that I didn't make them bigger. Using the large burner cover from Dollar Tree, some burlap ribbon from Walmart, and a placemat from Dollar General. I'm going to take my burner cover and I'm going to trace around the picture on the placemat. It looks like a wreath and I think it's really cute. And then I'm just going to take my scissors and cut it out inside of the line that I drew so that we won't see any of that. Next, I'm going to hot glue the placemat picture that I cut out to the inside of the burner cover, just on the edges. That's all it needs. And after I do that, I'm going to go ahead and make my hanger now before I add all the extra stuff. So I'm going to use actually a little bit of a mop head from Dollar Tree. Just since there's cotton in the picture, I thought a white rope would look the best. I'm going to hot glue it and then put a little extra hot glue and some masking tape, trim off the edges, and that's going to hold really well. Now I'm going to take that burlap ribbon from Walmart and I'm going to make 3 little pleats, and I'm going to, evenly put them together with some hot glue. Then I'll create a little poof, and you'll see here in just a second how I'm going to do that. And then I'll make 3 little pleats again and make another poof, and I'll just keep doing that until I have a large enough garland to go all the way around the wreath. Now you can make your little poofs as big or as small as you like. You could push them close together or you could spread them out kind of like I did. I just wanted something very simple, very farmhouse, and that's the look I was going for. The little tool I use to hold the hot glue while it's drying so I don't burn myself is a little makeup spatula. It's made out of silicone. You can get them at the Dollar Tree. I actually ordered mine on Amazon. They're in my Amazon store. It's a lifesaver. Oh my gosh. And I'm just going to speed this up so I can finish making the rest of the poofs to go all the way around my wreath. Once I have enough to go all the way around, I'm going to take the end and I'm going to put one little edge of that burlap on the inside of the ridge of the burner cover, and I'm going to hot glue it, and I'm going to do that to every little section where it's gathered with the pleats. And then I will go around and I will do the outside as well. That way it is nice and secure on the wreath. And then I'll cut off the end when I finally finish getting all the way around, and I will attach those to each other where the beginning and the end met with some hot glue. I want to make sure that the back is very secure and it's not all poofy back there. So I'm just going to put a little dot of hot glue in the middle of each poof only on the back and flatten it a little bit. And that way when it's on the wall, it won't stick up. I think that's going to make it more secure too. My friend Jenny from Lovely Moments Creating gave me these really cute little cotton balls that I'm going to use later in this project. I will link her channel down in the description. She's awesome. I've also got this gorgeous ribbon from the Dollar Tree. It's like a burlap lace combination. And I am just going to hot glue that in the center of every poof and kind of make another little bump, if you will, over the poofs with the ribbon. I think that just adds a lot of interest and it makes it so pretty and so farmhouse looking. And really all that's missing now for this wreath is a bow, and I'm going to use this netted twine ribbon or netted jute ribbon from burlapfabric.com. I'll have a link down in the description. They sent this to me and it is gorgeous. It's wired. I love working with it. I'm just going to make like an awareness ribbon, pull the center down, and then I'm going to use that same white mop head rope and I'm going to just tie that around the middle. Again, it kind of goes together with the cotton theme. And then I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to cut off the ends and I'm going to put that right at the top center of my wreath. I just love it. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. And I'm going to take those little cotton picks. I'm going to put one right in the center of the bow, and that's it. This is done. Oh my gosh, you guys, I love this so much. I just put the wires through and twisted them in the back and trimmed the ribbon, tacked it down, and that's it. This guy is so cute. It's so farmhouse, and it was actually super easy to do. And again, using the Dollar Tree stove burner cover, it's amazing what you can create out of those things. I hope you guys like it. The splatter screen pumpkins. This time I'm going to use that lace that I used earlier on the first pumpkin. So I'm going to follow the same steps, cut out the circle, but this time I thought it might be easier to just glue the piece on and then cut around it once it was attached. And I was right. It definitely was easier to do it this way. was going for more of a farmhouse look on this one, so I used some beads that I purchased from Amazon. You get quite a few, a lot of different sizes, very reasonable price. I'll try to leave the link in the description for you. And I watered down some of that pumpkin Waverly paint, and I put the beads on a skewer stick from Dollar Tree, which makes it a lot easier to paint them. And I went ahead and I painted them with that watered down paint. I started off with about 32 in each of the colors I'm going to use, and I did end up having to paint a few more just to finish the outline of the pumpkin. Then I did some in the plaster color to create the lines on the pumpkin like I had done with the robe on the previous one. The next step is I assembled the pumpkin out of the 2 splatter screens like I did before, and I hot glued them together, and then I'm going to take those cute little beads that I painted and I'm going to hot glue them all the way around the edges to create that outline of the pumpkin. I just wanted to take this time to remind you guys that I am on Instagram and Facebook, and you can find me there under Living My Best Life with Lisa Marie, and I'd love to see you there. It's easier to chat, and it would be super fun, plus you might get a sneak peek of what's coming. I'd also like to thank you so much for watching my videos and supporting me and encouraging me. You guys are really the best community of best lifers, and I appreciate everything you do. In keeping with that farmhouse theme, I'm going to lightly dry brush the antique Waverly wax onto all of the beads and then wipe a little bit of it off just to give it a little bit of an aged look. And I think it really looks great like this. And then I actually go back again with that orange paint and the plaster paint because I go back and forth till I get the color I like. And that's the thing, you can go back and forth until it looks exactly the way you want. There's no right or wrong way to do this. For this pumpkin stem, I'm going to use some of the jute twine, which is a lot smaller, and I'm going to wrap it all the way around the handle and hot glue it. I'm going to add a few more of those leaves from Dollar Tree, and also a little raffia bow, again out of the hula skirt. I had picked up one of those little thankful signs with a light in it from Dollar Tree, and very easily the words come right off the front of it, and I went ahead and painted it with the watered down pumpkin paint, and then I also dry brushed that and hot glued it to the center, and that finished off this project. I love how this came out. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. I made this wreath back in the fall, and I decided I'm going to repurpose it. I'm going to remove the fall florals, and now I'm going to add some really pretty spring and Easter type flowers and some greenery. And literally, it's just so easy because I wrapped it in nautical rope. It's so easy to attach, and you can use hot glue. You don't have to. A lot of it will just stick right in between the pieces of nautical rope. And I'm just going to arrange the different florals just the way I like it. You know, first I'm going to add the greenery around, and then I'm going to put different colored flowers in there. And you can do this any way you like, whatever colors fit your decor, whatever you like. I was just going for super springy, festive, vibrant colors. You guys, I'm in love with these little carrots, as you can tell. So I decided to add some to this wreath. I just think they are so cute, and I just love the bright orange color. So I added 4 to the bottom of the wreath, and they're just so cute. I cannot get enough of these carrots. This little grass pig that I got at Dollar Tree has butterflies in it. So I cut out 3 of the butterflies and I put the purple one in the center between the carrots and the 2 pink ones on the sides of the wreath. And I just love the extra little touch. It's so spring and Easter. I have this cute little wire garland from the Dollar Tree, and it's got little white, I don't know if they're berries or flowers on it, and I just had a little bit left over, so I wrapped a little bit on each side, and I just thought it added a nice little touch, and again, really just created that festive Easter spring feel that I was going for. I love how this turned out, and I hope you guys like it. I can't wait to hang it on my door once the snow melts. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so happy that you were here, and I can't wait to see you in my next video. I appreciate the time that you take to watch my videos. It means so much. And remember, you are a blessing to me.